Okay, welcome to another episode. What's the matter,
Welcome
Chris?
aboard, all you wonderful groomers, pet stylists, and canine cosmetologists. You found the Traveling Groomers podcast, where we discuss lessons learned from mobile and house call grooming. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Bear Anthony. Any moment now, we'll be joined by my co-host and friend, retired mobile groomer and educator extraordinaire, Mary Aquendo, and very likely a special guest to help us chat about all things grooming, grooming industry related, and just plain fun digressions that I will totally wrangle back to topic. Grab those travel mugs and climb aboard to see where today's topic will bring us. Let's roll. That's what's the matter, Mary.
All right, whatever.
Oh, guys, it's a really good thing we didn't hit record. You missed it. But it works with what we're talking about today.
Yeah, okay. So actually, welcome to another episode of the Traveling Groomers podcast. Okay. Our topics today is going to be what grinds our gears and mansplaining, which can be one and the same topic.
Yes, and we actually have a defense of mansplaining too, because the entire conversation we had before we hit record, if I was a man, Mary would have killed me. She would have 100% accused me of mansplaining and killed me. But I was not. So we were having some technical difficulties, right, Mary?
Mm-hmm.
And part of the issue was she couldn't always hear me. So I was repeating basic questions because I was trying to troubleshoot. And now Mary puts on seminars. I know she knows shit. Like, I know you know stuff, Mary. I know you know how to work this, but sometimes Zoom can be stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going through like troubleshooting, and Mary's getting more and more frustrated. Like, you're not fucking listening to me, Chris. I know how to work this. And I'm like, I know you know how to work this. But the first question they ask when you call IT is, have you tried turning it off and on again? Like, so I'm going over like the basic steps and I'm seeing Mary turn like colors. I'm like, Mary, I swear, I know you're really good at technical stuff.
Okay.
She's still not convinced.
But anyway, okay. And yes, that was true. I would have just like killed the conversation had she been a guy. I'm like, you know what? We'll do this later.
So see, in defense, it's not always what we attribute it to. It can legit be them trying to help and to go through stuff, and they're very aware we know stuff, but that's how my brain works to troubleshoot. Like, I start going through the basic stuff.
Okay. I sort of likened it to if I picked up, say, another brand of swivel shears and I started to show Chris how to use them.
Yeah, I might have.
Yeah. You might have wanted to kill me, right?
I might have wanted to kill you.
All right.
But then in my defense, I said, look, but I did show you how to use something else on Zoom that had to do with video recordings. That was like a detail thing. So
yeah. And I said, that's nice. There's like 1,000 things I'm probably not using on Zoom. It would actually require me to go through all the documentation, which I'm not prepared to do. So If you have a tip for Zoom, I will welcome it if it's something I don't know how to do, because I know the reason I don't know how to do it is because I've made no effort to read the documentation. But anyway, Chris, what episode number are we?
Lovely listeners, welcome to episode number 214, recorded on June 9th and will be airing on June 14th. And for those of you who actually pay attention, you'll notice that the 9th is not a Wednesday. We normally record on Wednesdays. The 9th is not a Wednesday.
Nope.
Because
All right. So one of the things we wanted that I wanted to talk about is that we're supposed to record on Wednesdays, which is our normal day. Okay. Because it's midweek. It generally doesn't interfere with either comings or goings of trade shows.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's a pretty safe day for us to record. But the weather quality, or the air quality in the Northeast is horrendous. And we're not talking, like maybe a little high pollen count or anything like that. We're talking some serious air quality issues because of the wildfires that are
Mm.
happening in Canada.
And my God, the poor Canadians, because if we're having it this bad, it must have been horrible to be right next to that. And I know people are likening it to a campfire. Yeah, no.
No,
Yeah, no. Just
no.
I want to say more things about that, but I try to be really pleasant and upbeat on the podcast. And I've been focusing so hard this week.
Yeah. But it brings up a
It's been
point that
hard.
sometimes we need to know when to cry uncle. When it's really not good for our health to be out working, then we want to continue working because health problems can really creep up on you pretty quickly, and all of a sudden something minor is now a major problem.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's part of the reason why I retired from grooming as early as I did.
Yeah. And actually the plan was, because I woke up Wednesday morning with a sore throat and a stuffed up head, because Tuesday night by me, we were starting to smell the smoke. And I was like, what's going on? Is something on fire? I thought there was a fire close. Like I was searching the horizon for the smoke. I'm like, why don't I hear fire trucks? It's got to be really close. And by Wednesday, it was full on hazardous. So I'm like, the last thing I want to do right now is talk for an hour. It's just not.
Okay, so on that note, let's take our first commercial break.
No, Mary, I didn't make my list. I'm going to do it right now. Yes, I make a list of the order the commercials go in because I cycle them through. So everything else in the world seems to have changed. Positive Ed has too, but for the better. Online learning is here to stay, and Positive Educational Training has brought the trade show to you with Summit memberships. For one monthly price of $97, you get 6 to 10 hours of content streamed live to your sofa, or let's be honest, grooming table. Forgot to attend live? No problem. You have 6 weeks to watch at your convenience. That's 3 weeks more than non-members, and for up to $50 less than non-members paid. With a monthly support call and summits tailored to the pet industry and designed to include all learning styles, what are you waiting for? Check out positiveed.com today and get the support you need to take action in your business.
Okay.
Ta-da.
So, I mean, I think there's a lot of things that can annoy us in our professional environment. Sometimes it's our bosses, sometimes it's our fellow workers, sometimes it's the clients, and sometimes it's the pets. Correct?
Yeah, and sometimes it's some bizarre combination of the above, and people's opinion of grooming and what it is and is not. But yeah.
So, all right. So one of the things that really grind my gears back when I worked in a shop was that, I mean, I had a really good, until he quit, I had a really good store manager. The assistant store manager, on the other hand, was didn't care too much for him. And it was because he considered groomers to be what's the word I want to use? Unskilled labor. Okay. we're skilled labor. Yeah. That, you know what, we do as we're told. Okay. And so when someone comes in to get their dog groomed, we will groom the dog because it's our job, correct? With no appreciation for what it is we do. All right. So it was a, a, a a bone of contention because in addition to that, because he knew so much more about running a grooming shop than apparently the actual groomers, is that he would change my orders. So at one point, I had like, I don't know, 6 gallons of flea shampoo that had been there since like the day I started. Maybe there were 7 and now there's 6. Okay. And no other regular shampoo. So when I had to go to the floor and pull shampoo off the shelf, which they don't really like you to do that,
They don't like that.
you know, and go over to the office and said, well, you know what? Someone canceled my order and I have no regular shampoo. And he's like, well, you got 6 gallons back there. I have 6 gallons of flea shampoo. I cannot use that on every pet. Okay. And so we had to take care of that. And this is where like having a good store manager comes in handy because he was giving me problems about that I should be able to just to do anything. Okay. So I had a crazy dog come in and he needed 2 people. And I'm like, I can't do this dog. All right. And I told the store manager, I don't want to do this dog. It's dangerous and someone's going to get hurt. I cannot do this dog by myself. And the store manager's like, you will do it. The assistant store manager, you will do because I told you to do it. And so the store
That's
manager,
actually against P&P.
probably.
Mhm.
Okay. And so the store manager then sent him to assist with the groom. That was the friggin' last time that he ever ordered me to groom a pet I did not want to groom.
And yeah, if you cannot be forced to do something
Yeah.
that you feel is unsafe for
Yes.
you or the dog, guys, I know corporate people hate P&P, but here is something that grinds my grooming gears. We need to know that policy and
Yeah.
procedure. We need to 100% know it because so often groomers get told to do things that are 100% against P&P by managers, but if they don't know, then
Yeah.
they do it, like working in a salon when it's over a certain temperature. I forget. I used to know when I was in corporate, I knew, but it's in P&P that if that salon goes over this temperature, you are to shut everything down, scissors down, put the dogs away, open the doors and run fans until the temperature drops to a safe level.
So one of the first things I did, and I thank my husband for this, because my husband was a union, at one point was a union rep. He says you get a copy of the P&P and you read them.
Oh yeah.
And I had it highlighted. I had a yellow marker, highlighted things that, yeah.
See,
So
we're
that,
troublemakers.
so that if there was a problem, I could highlight and show, well, it says here in the book. So it's a really good point. If you are, it doesn't matter if you're corporate, because honestly and truly, you know what? Shops should have P&Ps.
Yeah.
Independent mom and pop shops, you ought to have P&Ps because your people need to know how things run. All right. And as an employee, you should know what it is that is expected of you.
Policy and procedure protects you just as much as it protects the employers. And I've heard a lot of groomers say, oh, well, I like it mom and pop shops better where they don't have a lot of those rules because, you know, we can just do what makes sense to us. But here's the problem. When you have a boss that's decent and honest and trustworthy and all squared away and right in the head, that may be okay. That may work for a while. However, I've had bosses that will tell you 3 different things on 3 different days. And if there's no policy and procedure, you can be doing something the way they told you to last week. And they'll come in and go, why the hell are you doing that? Because it was wrong or stupid, or it just didn't work, but that's how they told you to do it. So that's how you're going to do it.
Okay. One of the things that bothered me, and and when I went, so this is back when I was in school and we were like all coming to like one location and to learn. And the instructor, and I love her and I loved her to death. She really wasn't good about making sure the other groomers cleaned up after themselves.
Mhm.
So there'd be like no clean cages because there'd be the groomers who would just go from cage to cage to cage, dirty them all, and then you have to clean a cage before you could put your dog in.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, that would really grind my gears to the point that when I went back to my home store and I became the grooming manager, that was very, very specifically addressed.
When I was a bather, the store I started in, bathers were worked. You ever heard the phrase like a rented mule?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bathers were worked, and it's like we had to do all the bath dogs and all the grooming dogs. When I actually read the P&P and found out it said the groom dogs, if I had time, like if I wasn't working on bath dogs, the amount of bath dogs I booked for myself because, oh, nope, sorry. I've got 3 dogs I got to get out the door. I can't right now. Now, I had no problem helping the groomers. I don't want to make it sound like that. But when you worked with someone who, and it was like 7 o'clock at night, and there was this one Shih Tzu sitting in a cage that hadn't been touched, had no nails done, no prep work, no bath. And the groomer had never asked anyone to do it. And then she just snaps, well, somebody's got to wash this dog. And it's just me and her in the damn salon. Like she can't even say, oh my God, Chris, can you wash this dog for me? I didn't realize it was sitting here. Like somebody's got to wash this dog. That's when they thought I quit. Because I went into the bathroom to cry because like I needed that job. And at this point, I knew this is what I wanted to do. And I was sticking there for training. And I just had to go and pull myself together in the restroom. And apparently the manager came in and went, where's Chris? What's going on? And the groomer who would snap like that perhaps realized she'd been a little bit of an asshat because she went, I don't know. I think she quit. She just walked out. Like I just walked out of grooming. So yeah. I'll go into that more after our second commercial.
And speaking of continuing education, because we either were or will be, join the Andis World-Class Education Team each month for live interactive virtual classes. You'll learn new and trending styles, as well as tips and tricks from some of the best groomers in the industry. Whether you're looking for basic skills, trending styles, advanced techniques, or even just ways to spark your creativity, the new Andis Grooming Education site is your source for finding what you need to create your way for success. Try new techniques, learn from the pros, and grow your confidence today at andis.com/groomer education. Traveling Groomer podcast listeners, hey, that's you, can get 25% off your first course today with the code VEGROOMING at checkout on andis.com/groomer education. So, Mary, that's what grinds my grooming gears, treating bathers poorly.
Okay. Very fair.
Because that's where I came. My intro to grooming as a bather, I am amazed I am where I am today that I stuck with it, because that store was not a good place for bathers. And as I went further in the industry and I had other people bathe for me, and I realized that you can't get, well, you can, but it's so much harder to get a good groom with a not good bath, then I am amazed that people treated bathers as dispensable and just like poop.
Yeah. All right. So
And-
another thing that grinds my gear is misusing my equipment.
Oh, I get the story.
Yeah, me too. Okay. So I've got my door open, my toolbox open. And I will tell you, one of the first things I said, there's so much I'm like really thankful to my husband for, because he worked with other people before I was working with people. So first thing we did is that when I started working there, he changed out the lock on my toolbox. We did not give the keys to management. Anyway, so I'm sitting there grooming a dog, and one of the assistants comes walking into the grooming room, walks over to my open toolbox, takes a pair of my $300 pair of scissors, starts to walk out with them. And I'm like, excuse me, where are you going with those scissors? I'm going to go cut a bird's wings. Oh, no, you're not.
No,
Okay.
no, you're
Well,
not.
these are corporate. No, they're not. Those are my scissors. Put them back in. And then we had the conversation with management that you do not come in and touch my equipment.
Because they should know what is and what isn't corporate, because some stores do have a set of corporate tools,
Yeah.
and they should be clearly labeled, kept in the same place, so people know what is and what isn't. Oh, my story is, this was way back before Evolution shears. Ron and Abby were still my sharpeners, but Evolution was not quite a twinkle in their eye yet. I had a pair of Talon shears. They're not even around anymore. And I had them in my drawer. Now, earlier that day, I forget why. It was either earlier that day or like right the day before, I had to take a quick trip to the ER for a grooming related injury. I forget what specifically the injury was, because it wasn't that serious, and the events I'm about to describe wiped it from my mind. So one of our bathers was cleaning out the vacuum and doing stuff, and he was near my drawer, and I just hear like a metallic of something being tossed back in my drawer. And I'm like, what did you just do? What happened? Did you just use my scissors? And literally toss them back in the drawer. And he's like, yeah. And I looked it up, picked them up, and there was a humongous nick in them. Like, some nicks are hard to see with a naked eye. And it was by the pivot. It was all the way in, and it was like so visible. You could see from across the room, there was a chunk. It looked like he tried to turn them into chunkers and just got one V out. And he's like, when I used it to cut hair, the hair he used to cut
was he pulled a slip lead out of the vacuum and there was gross, dirty, wet hair wrapped around the slip lead. And he used my scissors to cut that off. And I just remember staring at him holding the scissors. And I'm like, the only thing saving your life right now is you literally just took me to the emergency room. And you have this much grace for that. And I showed him the damage and he still did not get it. Oh, he didn't last that long. He didn't last that long. This was also the person who tried calling me Chrissy because he was a little older than me and he thought he could. Mary, do I look like a Chrissy to you? Anyone who has met me, and I've met a lot of you now from the trade shows, and I love that, but do I appear to be a Chrissy?
No,
offense.
honestly, I think I would pretty much be taking my life in my hands if I ever went up and said, "Hey, Chrissy, what's going on?"
No offense to Chrissy Newmeyer Smith. That's her. She is a Chrissy. That's her name. That's fine. Yeah. I think he finally got the hint one day when he was at the front of the room and I'm grooming and he's calling me Chrissy. And he just keeps getting louder and I just keep ignoring him. And he gets loud enough to where I can't ignore him anymore. And I just go, that's not my name. And he goes, oh, Chris. I'm like, oh, you're a dick. Yeah. There was one person on earth who could get away with calling me Chrissy, and that privilege my grandfather took with him to heaven. If I see him in the next life, he can still call me Chrissy, but that's it. Nobody else. Just
Okay.
so what else grinds my grooming gears? Oh, and I could honestly, though I could go on with the tools thing, but I'm gonna say one thing because Mary, you ever say something in a class and then you realize later that you misspoke and you feel badly about it forever? No, probably not, because you are like the most neurotypical person I have ever met. Okay, so I misspoke in a class once 3-4 years ago. It still bothers me. And what I misspoke about was, can someone else using your shears mess them up? And I asked that, someone asked me that question and I'm like, well, not really. And then I'm like, oh no, wait. Because I had 20 different things going on in my brain. Oh no, they totally can.
Oh yeah.
They totally can. I let someone use my curved shears, my curved chunkers.
Yeah. Oh, and then those are easy to mess up.
And I got them back and I'm like, oh, you have a heavy hands, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
It's all right. Mo was right there. Mo was right there. My sharpener was right there. I'm like, Mo, help me. But yes. And see, it doesn't even bother me when you just like mistreat my equipment. Mistreatment of any and all grooming equipment grinds my gears. When I see shears that are like tossed around or used hard, ridden hard and put away wet. No, even if it's your own stuff and you're like, I can treat my stuff, I got 20 shears. It's still, I don't know why, Mary, it bothers me.
Because they're tools. They're your work tools.
Yeah. But even when they're not my tools, when they're someone else's tools and they're treating their own stuff badly, that still makes me twitch a little bit.
Okay.
That doesn't make a complete logical sense to me, but
okay.
I'm glad you're keeping track of time because I am not.
Obviously.
I know when I'm on the road grooming, I want to keep things rolling along. With a 9-foot clearance, Canby mobile grooming vans actually fit through most drive-throughs to make lunch and banking on the go a breeze.
With their clean running diesel engine getting up to 5 hours runtime per gallon, you're spending less time and money at the pump. Visit Hanvy.com today to configure the mobile grooming van of your dreams. All right. I don't know why that sounded so much lower.
I don't know. You sound really loud right now.
I sound really loud right now. Is that better?
Oh, so much better.
Okay, there we go. I
Okay.
tweaked my volume.
Okay. Another thing that grinds my gears, and a lot of this is when I was working in a shop. Okay. Because the things that ground my gears, when I went off on my own, I knew it bothered me and I just kind of put a stop to it. So, but anyway, working on a large clip down on a dog. I don't remember what dog it was, but there was a lot of hair on the ground. Okay. And there was going to be a lot more hair on the ground by the time I finished. And in fact, the same assistant store manager who tried to walk out with a pair of scissors comes back one day into the grooming room and says, "It's a mess in here. I'm in the middle of working on a pet." And so I pointed her to the back and said,
The
"There's
vacuum's right there.
I know I didn't even give her the vacuum because I'm working on a dog. I don't want the noise. There's a broom. And the thing is, technically, because she was like a team leader and I was the grooming manager, technically I outranked her.
Mhm.
So I was like, there's a broom and a dustpan in the back. Take care of it. Okay. She stopped coming into my grooming room after that. So being interrupted, right?
Oh. This is one from corporate. I forgot
But
I
let me
had.
tell you why that's a problem.
Hmm.
Okay. When you're in a groove and you're working, okay, and you have to stop to do something else, it's not as easy to get back into that groove. It could take as much as 15 minutes to get back into that same groove you were in. You're slowed down. And now that dog that should have been finished 15 minutes ago, you're still working on because somebody interrupted you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm. Another thing from corporate. And this happens some in house call now, but not so much anymore because they're all regular customers. But corporate's the fishbowl, and very often when we give a time estimate, they'll come when we're still finishing up the dog. Okay, fine, whatever. We'll give them the slip. I said, "Here's the slip. Give me another 15 minutes. So go pay, do a little shopping, whatever." And they go, I think the face needs to be a little bit shorter. I do the face last. I always do the face last. So it makes me go, do you not know what your dog looked like when you dropped it off? Because I didn't touch the face yet.
Someone smarter than me once told me, do the face first and then do the rest of it. Because when the owners came, again, this again is working corporate. Okay. Dog gets distracted, it sees the owner. Now the owner wants to go home. It's dancing on the table. It can be really difficult to get the face done at that junction. But if you get the face done earlier, and then all you're doing is body or neatening up feet, it's a lot easier to do that.
I see that. And I respect that. But I would at least have to do the body first, because then I would know the correct length to set the face.
Okay. I mean, yeah, there's all, you know what? I think the point is that you need to have a routine that you know how you're doing things.
Mhm.
And more importantly, not only how you're doing things, but that the pet knows how you're doing things. So it becomes more, when they can anticipate what's going to be next, things just go a whole lot faster. Right. Now, as mobile, some of the things that used to grind my gears, and again, ended up with new policies and procedures. Okay. Snow. Snow on driveways, snow on walkways. Okay. Yes. There were some people who, you know what, that was never an issue. And other people where they had to text me a picture of their driveway and their walkway before I would come in the morning.
If you think it's a pain in the ass walking to and from the house to collect the dog, try rolling a wheelie cart with all of your tools.
Yep. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so that again, and there would be people who would just before their appointment would just text me pictures of their driveways and their walkways because they knew I would expect to see it before I would come to their house. I am not slipping on your driveway. I am not going to break, because I've done that, you know, with that whole been there, done that. And when you're in the ER and the nurse hands you this liquid, I guess betadine or whatever, and they're like, okay, wash your hands and pick out all the driveway pieces and gravel out of your own personal hand. I believe that was the very next day that policy went into place.
No.
Yeah.
How? No.
Yeah, that hurt. That hurt a lot. You know, sometimes policies and procedures, and here's
Uh-huh.
and here's again, and I'm again not ragging on corporate because they have so many stores and so many groomers, they need policies and procedures. Okay. But sometimes policies and procedures come because somebody did something stupid.
Yeah.
Okay. It would, at one point, there was once a week, I'd be sitting at the desk going over the appointment book, and the store manager would come in with the latest missive from corporate about what we could not no longer do. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking someone did something stupid.
Someone did something stupid. Oh, 100% someone did something stupid. No, yeah, no lie.
No lie. So a lot of those, it's like the things they have to put like on products we use. Okay. Like on the tube of hemorrhoid cream, there's like, don't take this internally, you know, or orally, you know, somebody did it. And you and I would go, yeah, who puts preparation H on a toothbrush? I don't know. But apparently somebody did, because now the warning's on the label.
Or don't get it in your eye, because so many of those creams that like tighten everything up, you hear people say it's basically like preparation H. And I'm like, okay, I get that. But I'm not sure I want to put preparation H around my eyes. Like, I don't care how amazing it tightens everything up and makes everything look. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably not. But anyway, uh, so that's where they come from. All right.
No, I know, 100%. And when you have that many stores and that many groomers, that's almost the only way you can regulate things, like the no skip tooth blades. Now,
and I don't, you know what? Here's the thing. For a while, the skip tooth blades was what we had. There were no fine tooth blades. They were all skip tooth. And yes, they did an amazing job of your like dematting, but at the same time, I can tell you some horrific accidents used with them. And I could see why corporate would, as a general rule, would ban them because if used incorrectly, you can cause some significant damage.
yeah. Yeah, I've told my story before about the small shop I was at where a groomer was, she's grooming a dog, and all of a sudden you hear that, damn it. And that, there was a Nick in an instant. And she's like, and it was the same. I did this last week. It was the same spot and with the same blade. And she was using a 5 skip as a finish blade. And it was like she cut near the rear tuck up area. And I'm like, well, why are you using a skip tooth for that? Oh, all my other ones need sharpening. I don't have a 5F. I'm like, here, take this. And don't be a doofus in the future, please.
Well, okay. Let's take the commercial break, and I want to answer a little bit on that.
Okay, me too. So by now, you know how much I love my Evolution shears. They're the only shears I use. Check out all the options, including customizable non-swivels at evolutionshears.com, and give Abby a shout with any questions you might have. Traveling Groomers listeners get $10 off and free shipping with the code on the road, all one word. So check them out today. Your hands will thank you.
All right. Which that kind of leads into another one of my pet peeves is groomers not sharing information. Okay. Yeah. So if you've taken my pet first aid class anywhere, you've heard this particular story. All right. So whether it's from me or from Beth. Right. So when Beth was a new groomer, she worked at a band field where they had, the vet services right there. So they gave her a matted Yorkie, and whether it was the 5 or the 7, I forget which one, she lifted the dog and zipped right down, and the dog had 3 stitches in the flank. All right. So rather than someone sitting her down and explaining to her, somebody with more experience on how that accident happened. Okay. And how to avoid that in the future.
They just handed her the second dog.
They handed her the sister, and just as matted. And you know what? 3 stitches in the same exact place.
I was just talking to someone yesterday who was saying her first incident was a matted Yorkie, and it was on the leg. But she had a better experience because the person training her went, oh my God, I should never have even handed you that dog. That was my fault because I didn't tell you how to deal with matting like this on this level of little bitty scrawny dog.
Yeah. Okay. So again, not sharing information amongst people who are working in the same facility. Okay. So somebody with far more experience could have said, listen, before we give you the sister, and we're going to give you the sister, understand what happened here. Okay.
Another thing, talking about sharing, a lot of my, you may have noticed, things that grind my gears come from spending a solid year as a bather in a corporate salon. And that's sharing tips. I worked at one salon where the owner actually laughed at me a little bit, with how serious I was about it. But if a customer tipped me and a bather did that dog, they got half that tip. That's the way it goes. And that's how I was. I was like, I don't care how big a tip it was. If they gave me $20, oh my God, fantastic tip. Here's 10. Because I know that my groom was easier and faster because they washed a dog for me and they did a good job. And I've been on that end. And that actually should have been a red flag for me, that she thought it was funny that I was so serious about that. And I'm like, I have morals.
Yeah. Again, that goes back to treating your bathers
like people and professionals too.
As professionals. Okay. Because they're making your job a whole lot easier.
What's my new catchphrase, Mary? Because I'm an effing lady and a goddamn professional. Because they're goddamn professionals too.
Yes.
Absolutely are.
Okay.
Man. I forget where we asked the question of other people, what grinds your grooming gears.
Like I went actually to look for it in Facebook groups and couldn't find it. So I
I
forget
think on
where
my
we asked that.
profile.
Oh, okay. I know
But-
one answer we got was, you're the business owner, so no tip for you.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
That's the only one because that came in like while we were asking it. So I wrote it down.
Yeah, you know what?
And I have mixed feelings about that
I got
one.
mixed feelings on that too, because we should never price to make the assumption that somebody is going to tip. And I do not know where I heard that, but that's like an old, long timey thing.
That's very old school. I don't even know. We should let's do some real time Googling.
You know, I remember my vet calls me up one day. Apparently there was a discussion in the break room during their lunch, and the question was, do we tip the groomers even if they're owners? And I'm like, oh yes you do. She says they were having a spirited discussion, which means there were some in the staff room that were for it and some that were against it. But
Okay.
I think my issue with that is sometimes we need to make that assumption and make sure we're priced accordingly so that if they don't tip us, it's fine. It's okay.
I am actually Googling this because that's from 2018. I want to
I'm
say
thinking that's
that's an outdated rule.
yeah.
There
And I'm thinking we're going to go back many, many, many years, not just 5 or 10. But I can remember don't tip service owners. Are you not supposed to tip the owner? No tipping is an old tradition that's dying out, Post says. Oh, this is like an Emily Post type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to read a Miss Manners article, but it was behind a paywall because Washington Post.
Yeah, no, this is on Oprah.com.
Okay, what's the year?
Good question. I don't know. Let me see. I don't know. Oh, December 2002.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's the year I went in business for myself.
See, now
2002.
this article, I can't find a year on, and it's saying it's talking about the owner of a salon. But you know what? It all, when you're tipping owners or self-employed people, it all goes back to setting your pricing correctly. If your pricing is set where you're not reliant on tips, then it's okay if they don't. It's grand if they do. Don't get me wrong. Tips are always appreciated, but then it's up to the owners. If you don't want to take tips and have your staff take tips, that's fine. You can say, oh no, I don't need to tip me. If you want to show appreciation for the staff, you can put something in their jar or whatever. They split that. But yeah, I think that's an old tradition that's dying away because people assume that business owners are rich.
And I think that's where that came from. Like, oh, you own a business, you must be rolling in it. But no, businesses are very expensive to run. They're very expensive to run. But all right, Mary, as we wrap up our grooming gears, I want to, before
we
do
need one more commercial.
wait. I have an idea for a new segment that we can do after the commercial.
Okay.
So I want to tell you the story. My contractor almost died this week, and he had no idea. So
did he mansplain something to you?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Wait till you hear, Mary. Okay. I've been trying to get my grooming tub installed.
Actually, let's take the commercial.
Yeah. Because this is going to be, the segment will be a little short because this one, this made 3 days, made my head explode.
I love being a house call groomer, but I hate doing laundry or worrying about asking my clients for fresh towels. Raypet has solved those problems for me with the Wet Pet disposable towel, taking up much less space than traditional cotton towels and easy to wring out and reuse. These super soft, comfy, absorbent towels eliminate any cross-contamination concerns between pets. And now their new smaller washcloth size can even help those sensitive eye areas. Great for cleaning out wrinkles gently and thoroughly. Need to keep water bowls for your clients on hand that are easy to disinfect, but hate all the room traditional clanky metal bowls take up? Or just have a very active pet? Their collapsible silicone bowl comes with an aluminum D-ring hook that can be attached to your pet's leash or anywhere else in your van for easy storage. You can get one by itself or in their handy travel kit, along with a set of 3 tick removers and 1 small wet pet towel. So stop by their website to check it out, raypet.net, and tell them the Traveling Groomer sent you.
Okay.
So this is part of a saga. I have, as you know, I got a new grooming tub. I have been trying to get that thing installed for like a while now, for a while now. And it didn't come with instructions, and I purchased an additional part for it. Like I purchased a separate hair trap because I wanted to be super careful about hair. So I got an external one that attached to the bottom. So, and plumbing is not my thing. And anyway, there's parts of it that are beyond my scope. That's not the super important part of the story. Part of that is just to show the level of frustration I have dealing with this. So now it's a hydraulic tub because I'm not getting younger, and I'm going to be hopefully getting a Norwegian forest cat at some point. So I need, various heights between the standard poodle and the forest cat and whatever.
Oh, I'm going to be so jealous when you get a Norwegian.
I can't wait. Anyway. So when he comes to look at it, the first thing he's telling me, now he's not a plumber, but he's like, oh, I don't know. The drain on the tub is lower than that drain I put in the wall. I put that at like standard slop sink height. So the drain on the tub is lower than that. So you're going to need like some kind of pump for the tub to drain. And I'm like, the tub's hydraulic, but I can raise it. Like I can raise it, so it's not an issue. I don't know. I'm like, let me just show you. Let me show you. Because I needed him to do 2 things besides installing a door at some point. 3 things. So I need him to do 3 things in my office for my office to be fucking done. There's the door, there's the tub installed, and this. Now, Mary, do you know what this is? Have you seen one of these before? Does it look familiar?
Yes, it does.
What is it?
It's something to hook a hair vac on it.
Yeah, see? This is a bracket for those who are just audio. This is a bracket to hook a hair vac to hang it on the wall. So I recently got a hair vac so now I have one for just my home salon, because you know how many grooms I do without a hair vac. Exactly none, Mary, exactly none. So I have an idea where I want it. And the contractor just redid that wall. So he knows where the studs are, and he has access to, I'm hoping, a stud finder machine. So I'm like, he just needs to, it's a 10-minute job if he's slacking to screw this to the wall. Mary, my only saving grace, the only thing I can hope for, is that he thought I was still talking about the tub, because I'm going to explain what happened this week. So I brought him in to show him the tub because he wasn't understanding the whole hydraulic thing. So I plugged it in, I set everything else up that I could, and I raised it really high so he could see. Now the drain is higher than the drain in the tub is now higher than the drain in the floor. Gravity will drain it. We're good. So I brought him in. He was looking at that. Una was in her crate, and she looks all loving now when she pops in and makes appearances on the podcast and the live stream, and she heard her fucking name. But when she is in a crate and there is someone she does not know in the house, she acts like a demon. And she was like loud and screaming, and he couldn't take it. I want to make a really sexist comment. I desperately want to make a sexist comment, but he couldn't take it. So we stepped outside, and I'm hoping he thought that this was a part of the tub, because I said, and I just need this screwed to the wall. This goes on the wall. This goes on the wall. And he says, Mary, and you know this how? And I don't know what my face did. I hope to God that it showed him the danger he was in. Because all I could think about was he's in the middle of doing important stuff on the other side of the house. Like, we need him. I can't kill him now. We need him right now. I can't kill him. And I just went, because there's instructions for that part. There's instructions for that. Like, it's the only thing. Maybe he thought it was some random tub piece I grabbed. And you know this how? Oh, sweet Jesus. Everyone I have told laughs because I recognize it's funny. I might think this is funny. It's going to take a solid 3 years before I can consider. I think it's really going to take.
Okay, so this is going to be a new tagline for Chris. Every time I see her, and you know this how?
Oh, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to physically hit you. Because, oh, Jesus. Oh my God, Mary. And I don't know.
One of the most condescending things I've ever heard anyone say. You know,
maybe because it's from a piece of equipment that I've used for 20 years. Maybe. What are you leaning out into the rain for? Who are you looking for?
One of my dogs.
They're inside, not getting rained on.
Oh, no, they're not.
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
It's really nice. It's a nice rain, by the way.
Yeah. It doesn't look super hard. It looks like it's still sunny. It's like, here's some sprinkle. Here, we'll clean your air
what's
a
nice.
little bit.
What's nice about it is I just planted a bunch of stuff in my planters.
Mhm.
So it means I don't have to water them. And now until I get back from Oregon.
Ah. All right. So, Mary,
Yes.
I said that we had a new segment that I just made up while we were recording the show. It popped into my head because that's how we roll, ladies and gents. So, Mary,
Yes.
what have you done for self-care for yourself this week?
Me?
Yes.
Oh, that's easy. My Audible books. Where's my phone? I upped my subscription from
Uh-huh.
12 credits a year to 24 credits a year.
Ooh.
Ooh, yes.
I just buy 3 packs of credits regularly. I
Yeah.
have the 1 credit a month, and then I just buy 3 packs of credits because
Yeah, no, I realized that I was using a lot. And so I love my audiobooks. I got my got my headphones, and I will just sit out here on my deck and listen to one of my books.
nice. So one of the things I am doing for self-care lately this week is you notice my hair is very, very slick at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a little, I was dripping when I got on. I was doing I had a short day at work and did some yard work. And that involved pulling some poison ivy off the side of the house.
Ew.
Yeah. So I did that very last. And after that, I went and took my gloves and clothes and put it in the washing machine, washed my arms, jumped in the shower. And I had just gotten a whole bunch of sample stuff from Ulta because I have a problem where if they have a free with purchase, I want all of the free stuff.
Okay. If anyone who doubts this,
Uh-huh.
the next time you're at a trade show, just ask Chris to open up the room to her hotel, the door to her hotel room.
I will take a picture. I will take a picture next
Sure.
time because it's Mindy and I are both like, we both have stuff. So just the vanity area, I have like the toiletry bag unrolled with all the makeup and skincare and all the stuff. And then I have 2 different bags with stuff.
Oh, I have no doubt. I have no doubt.
Someone
There you go.
actually asked me once, looked at it and said, how many people are you making up? Like, how many people are you doing makeup for? And I'm like, I want options. I don't know what I'm going to feel like that morning. I've got like all the different lipstick shades. I've got 3 different, I've finally got it down to the different eyeshadow palettes that live
Okay.
in my
So
to-go
Chris
bag.
Chris wants to make me up at one of the shows. And I'm like, yeah, okay, only if you have like green glitter eyeshadow, I'll do it. And she whips out green glitter eyeshadow.
I have a problem with eyeshadow palettes. I don't think I would have the green glitter eyeshadow now because like I said, I pared it down to just the eyeshadows I use because I do evolution colors at the show. So I do like purple and gold and maybe like a little black and a little like white in the corners to brighten. But anywho, oh, so what I'm doing is I digressed from my digression. I have a vitamin E mask sitting in my hair right now that came as a free gift with purchase thing. So it said 5 or 10 minutes or 30 minutes if you want. And it's been on
At least an hour.
an hour and a half now. So I'm like, it's just extra. Stop it. It's just extra.
Okay. All right. So on that note,
On that note, guys, thanks for coming. Remember to do your self-care, whatever it looks like for you. And I think this is going to be a new segment. We're going to end with what have we done in the past week to actually take care of ourselves? Because we talk about it and now we're going to hold each other accountable. Right, Mary?
yes.
Okay. So safe travels, guys, and we will see you next week. Well, that was fun, but now it's time to head home. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed chatting with you.
If there are any topics you'd like us to discuss or guests you want to see join us on this crazy road trip of ours, let us know in the Traveling Groomers Facebook page. Don't forget to thank our sponsors. And see you next week, guys. Safe travels.